The Cathedral of Saint Mary of the Sea, better known as Seville Cathedral, is a Roman Catholic cathedral in Seville. It is the largest Gothic cathedral and the third largest church in the world. It is also the largest cathedral in the world, as the two larger churches, the Basilica of the National Shrine of Our Lady of Aparecida and St. Peter's Basilica, are not the seats of bishops. It was registered in 1987 by UNESCO as a World Heritage Site, along with the Alcázar Palace complex in the General Archive of the Indies. See refers to the Episcopal See, that is, the bishop's ecclesiastical jurisdiction. After its completion in the early 16th century, the Seville Cathedral supplanted Hagia Sophia as the largest cathedral in the world, a title the Byzantine Church had held for nearly 1,000 years. The cathedral is also the burial site of Christopher Columbus. The Archbishop's Palace is located on the northeastern side of the cathedral. Description: Seville Cathedral was built to demonstrate the city's wealth, as it had become a major trading center in the years after the Reconquista in 1248. In July 1401 it was decided to build a new cathedral. According to local oral tradition, the members of the cathedral chapter said, "Hagamos uligos tan hermosa y tan grandiosa que los que lo vieron labrador nos tengan polocos." Construction began in 1402 and continued until 1506. The clergy of the parish gave half their stipends to pay for architects, artists, stained glass artisans, masons, carvers, craftsmen and laborers and other expenses. 5 years after construction ended, in 1511, the dome collapsed and work on the cathedral recommenced. The dome again collapsed in 1888, and work was still being performed on the dome until at least 1903. The 1888 collapse occurred due to an earthquake and resulted in the destruction of every precious object below the dome at that time. The interior has the longest nave of any cathedral in Spain. The central nave rises to a height of 42 meters and is lavishly decorated with a large quantity of gilding. In the main body of the cathedral, the most noticeable features are the great box-like choir loft, which fills the central portion of the nave, and the vast Gothic retableau of carved scenes from the life of Christ. This altarpiece was the lifetime work of a single craftsman, Pierre Dancert. The builders used some columns and other elements from the ancient mosque, including its minaret, which was converted into a bell tower known as La Giralda, now the city's most well-known symbol. Giralda. The Giralda is the bell tower of the Cathedral of Seville. Its height is 343 feet, and its square base is 23 feet above sea level and 44 feet long per side. The Giralda is the former minaret of the mosque that stood on the site under Muslim rule, and was built to resemble the minaret of the Koutoubia Mosque in Marrakech, Morocco. It was converted into a bell tower for the cathedral after the Reconquista, although the topmost section dates from the Renaissance. It was registered in 1987 as a World Heritage Site by UNESCO. The tower is 104.1 m in height and was one of the most important symbols in the medieval city. Construction began in 1184 under the direction of architect Ben Ahmad Baza. According to the chronicler Ibn Sa'd al-Salah, the works were completed on March 10, 1198, with the placement of 4 gilt bronze balls in the top section of the tower. After a strong earthquake in 1365, the spheres were missing. In the 16th century the belfry was added by the architect Hernan N. Ruiz the Younger. The statue on its top, called El Giraldillo, was installed in 1568 to represent the triumph of the Christian faith. Doors: Seville Cathedral has 15 doors on its 4 facades. The major doors are West facade the door of baptism, on the left side, was built in the 15th century and decorated with a scene depicting the baptism of Jesus, created by the workshop of Lorenzo Mercadante of Britain. It is of Gothic style with a pointed archivolt decorated with tracery. It contains sculptures of the brothers Saint Isidore and Saint Leander and the sisters Saints Justa and Rufina, by Lorenzo Mercadante, also a series of angels and prophets by the artisan Pedro Miller N. The main door or door of Assumption, in the center of the west facade, is well preserved and elaborately decorated. Cardinal Cienfuegos y Jovellanos commissioned the artist Ricardo Belva to carve the relief of the Assumption over the door. It was executed between 1877 and 1898. The Door of St. Michael or Door of the Nativity has sculptures representing the birth of Jesus by Pedro Millon. It was built in the 15th century and is decorated with terracotta sculptures of Saint Laurian, Saint Ermengild and the four evangelists. Today, this door is used for the Holy Week processions. South facade the door of Saint Cristoforo de la Lonja of the south transept, was designed by Adolfo Fernández Casanova and completed in 1917. It was originally designed by the architect Demetrio de los Rios in 1866. A replica of the Giraldillo stands in front of its gate. North facade The door of the Conception opens onto the Court of the Oranges and is kept closed except on festival days. It was designed by Demetrio de los Rios and finished by Adolfo Fernández Casanova in 1895. It was built in the Gothic style to harmonize with the rest of the building. The door of the Lizard leads from the Court of the Oranges. It is named for the stuffed crocodile hanging from the ceiling. The door of the Sanctuary provides access to the sanctuary. Designed by Pedro Sanchez Falconet in the last third of the 17th century, it is framed by Corinthian columns with a sculpture on top representing King Ferdinand III of Castile next to the Saints Isidore, Leander, Justa and Rufina. Door of Forgiveness. This door gives access to the Patio de los Naranjos from Calle Alamanes and therefore is not really a door of the cathedral. It belonged to the ancient mosque and retains its horseshoe arch shape from that time. In the early 16th century it was adorned with terracotta sculptures by the sculptor Miguel Perrin, highlighting the great relief of the Purification on the entrance arch. The plaster ornaments were made by Bartolomé copyright La Cubed Pez. East facade the Door of Sticks or the Adoration of the Magi, decorated with sculptures by Loeb Marin in 1548, has a relief of the Adoration of the Magi at the top, executed by Miguel Perrin in 1520. The name Palos, or Sticks is due to the wooden railing which separates that area from the rest of the building. Door of the Bells, so named because at the time of its construction the bells to call the workers were rung there. The Renaissance sculptures and the relief on the tympanum representing Christ's entry into Jerusalem were made by Loeb Marin in 1548. Chapels. The cathedral has 80 chapels, in which 500 masses were said daily as reported in 1896. The Baptistry Chapel of St. Anthony contains the painting of the Vision of St. Anthony by Bartolomé copyright Esteban Murillo. In November 1874, it was discovered that thieves had cut out the portion depicting St. Anthony. Then in January 1875, a Spanish immigrant attempted to sell the same fragment to a New York City art gallery. The man stated it was a complete original by Murillo, St. Anthony being one of the artist's favorite subjects. The owner of the gallery, Hermann Schaus, negotiated a price of $250 and contacted the Spanish consulate. Upon securing the sale, Schaus sent it to the Spanish consulate, which shipped it to Seville via Havana and Cadiz. Timeline: 1184, construction of the Almohad Mosque begun, 1198, completion of the mosque, 1248, conquest of Seville by Ferdinand III, the mosque Christianized, 1376, earthquake destroys minaret, replaced by bell gable, 1401, decision made to replace former mosque, 1402, nave begun SW corner, 1432, nave completed, east end started, 1466, demolition of royal chapel authorized by Juan II of Castile, 1467, east end completed, vaults begun. Anchors added. 1475, stalls begun, 1478, stalls completed, 1481, doorways and high altar completed, 1482, retableau begun, 1498, vaults completed, lantern begun, 1506, main dome completed, 1511, lantern collapses, rebuilding begins, 1515, new choir vaults completed, 1517, new transept vaults completed, 1519, lantern rebuilding completed, 1526, retableau mayor completed, 1551, Capillary begun, 1558, belfry replaces bell gable, 1568, Giralda, top stages, 1575, Capillary completed, 1888, main dome and vaults collapse. 1934, Duarte Torres, priest and longtime choir master, dies. 1995, Infanta Elena of Spain, the elder daughter of King Juan Carlos and Queen Sofia, married Jaime de Marichalar in the cathedral. Burials: Christopher Columbus, Ferdinand Columbus, Fernando III of Castile, Elizabeth of Hohenstaufen, Alfonso X of Castile, Pedro I of Castile. See also, 12 Treasures of Spain. Gallery. References. Sources: John Harvey, The Cathedrals of Spain, Luis Martinez Montiel, The Cathedral of Seville. External links: interactive 360-degree panorama from Plaza del Triunfo with Cathedral, Alcázar and Archivo General de Indias, website with detailed information about Seville Cathedral, website showcasing sacred destinations including Seville Cathedral, UNESCO list of World Heritage Monuments, City Guide website of Andalusia with information about Seville Cathedral, information on Seville Cathedral, details of Seville Cathedral as a national monument of Spain, travel guide information regarding Seville Cathedral, Great Building website with details about Seville Cathedral, images pertaining to Seville Cathedral, Bluffton University images and details pertaining to Catedral de Sevilla.